Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And India have beaten England in this third ODI by 142 runs and have clinched the series 3-0. And now getting into this review, I usually start off by discussing the 11 of England, but I don't feel there's too much more to say about that from my previous video. And therefore I'll start with India, then I'll go to England. So in India, they rested Jadeja, which I thought they should do as well. And I would have brought in Chakravarti to play alongside Kuldeep. Now, they left out Chakravarti and they played Kuldeep in this match, which I'd said in the previous match, there was no justice in leaving out Kuldeep Yadav when he's bowled in one match on his return from injury and you're straight away benching him to see what the other player can do. There's no need to go with batting depth in this case because India lost a few wickets at the end. Washington scored a run above 14 and they still scored 356. Had the batsmen played with a bit more application at the end, they would have got at least 20 runs more. And then you'd have looked forward to the bowling of Varun Chakravarti and he could have competed with Kuldeep Yadav for the starting spot. Since Washington Sundar, in my view, they've included 5 spinners for the Champions Trophy squad, which I feel is too many, and Washington will not get a game. So I don't understand why they played him ahead of Chakravarti. And Shreyas said he scored another very good knock of 78 in this match. Was there a need to play him since he's in a short starter? No, there wasn't. KL Rahul has not had enough batting in this series. I would have sent him out at 4. Then you've got Rishabh Pant at 5. Now, according to them, they're saying there's no chance of Rishabh Pant entering into the side unless KL Rahul is out of 4. And I do agree with that KL Rahul should be the starting player. However, since Rahul hasn't batted for a while and Shreyas said there's no need to play him in this match since you know he's in form, I would have played Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul just to make sure. So I expect, I'm not surprised given their thinking that they look to play Shreyas. He did very well today again, but this is what I would have done. And those are, and the last one, now Mohammad Shami didn't play this match, and once again, I don't understand. The previous match, he bowled 8 overs, went for 66. Had he got back to full match sharpness? No. So, if you're not playing him in a match that has no consequence, in Dubai, striking early up front in the power play is key. And is Harshit Rana anywhere near the level of Shami when it comes to bowling in the power play and picking up wickets? No, he isn't. And that's why if Shami continues to exhibit these signs of rustiness and he goes for runs, he doesn't strike up front, then India in the first 2 ODIs did not take a wicket, I think, in the first 10 overs. And in this match, Arshdeep Singh took the wickets. So if Arshdeep Singh doesn't get wickets, then if you're playing Harshit Rana ahead of Mohammad Shami and you've got 5 spinners in the squad more than you need to have, then especially when bowling second in Dubai, when the spinners don't have as much effectiveness, you may find things difficult. So I feel they have or they've committed an error in that regard. And now on England, I put out another tweet confidently replying to the England Cricket Board when they'd said Josh Buttler had chose to bowl first, that it was going to be a minimum of 350, and that was what we saw. You're looking at this attack again. It says 4 bowlers. It's about 2.5 bowlers because you've got Mark Wood, Adil Rashid, Saqib Mahmood. Now, Mark Wood or Saqib Mahmood can go for runs. Saqib Mahmood went for 68 in this match. Mark Wood surprisingly bowled okay. So you've got 2.5 bowlers there. Gus Atkinson, I don't know why they're playing him. Again, 1 for 74 on 8. The speed gun isn't crossing 135. And at times, even when he bowls 5 decent deliveries, he goes for a boundary in the last ball. And then he goes back to giving runs in the next over. So I don't quite understand why they're playing him. Yes, you've not got many options, but you've got someone who looks totally out of sorts, but you're still going with him. And Liam Livingston, I'll be suggesting an 11 once again since they included Tom Banton. But at number 7, he scores a 40 a year. And with his bowling in the last few months, you've seen how he's gone, especially when he bowls in ODIs. You've got a minimum of 7 economy rate. In T20s, even on a slow track, he goes at 9 per over. So you've got that kind of an option there, and he gets a free pass because you're not dropping him, you're not even giving the indication that you're going to replace him with anyone. So this is why this team is in the state that it is in. And when Josh Buttler chose to bowl first, the case where they've seen in the previous ODI, they scored 304, which I thought was slightly under par. But even if they had scored the par score, India, against that attack, they fielded would have easily chased that down. And in this case, they thought, right, we'll concede a lot of runs. Can we chase it down with our batting? Now, does this side, I'll say this again, does this side have batting depth when, yes, you've got Josh Buttler at 6, now that you've got Tom Banton in the side, but Liam Livingston, well, the 140 that he scores a year, do you know he's going to score that in this case? No, you don't, and we saw his dismissal today, and that's why I wasn't surprised with how the game went. At the moment it was both first, I was looking forward for Virat Kohli to scoring some runs. And now India on the power play, 52 for 1 in 10 overs. Mark Wood, I'd say surprisingly he bowled well because I saw him access the fuller lengths when he was bowling with a new ball today, which I haven't seen for a while. He bowled a good delivery to Rohit Sharma. He was dismissed early after scoring a century in the previous match. And Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli, who looked a bit desperate, and I'm happy he scored at 52 today, so the desperation wouldn't continue as much when you get into the Champions Trophy. Had he failed today, then the desperation would have taken over when he was batting, and that would not be good in a tournament for India when you've got such a colossal player who is really feeling for runs, and we don't know how that would go. One thing I didn't understand from an English perspective, yes, both the batsmen played well, but you're seeing the seamers are going for runs, and usually what they do is they bring in Liam Livingston because he can turn the ball both ways depending on whether the batsman's a right-hander or a left-hander. You'll bring on Joe Root, he's bowling from around the wicket to Indian players who are the best players spinning white ball cricket, and you're expecting to get a wicket. 1 for 47 in 5. Virat Kohli hit him for 6 via a sweep shot. Shubman Gill also played him very well. And I don't understand what kind of a ploy that was. Virat Kohli was dismissed with 52 when the score was 122. And I talked about Shreyas Iyer's entry point, I'd say, because it was after the 12th over. If you're basing things on the theory, him entering at that point was not an incorrect call. However, given the context of the Champions Trophy, KL Rahul has not had enough batting this series. I would have sent him at 4 ahead of Shreyas, as until the 25th, especially the 10th to the 25th over at this venue is for consolidation and continuing to establish that foundation. You've had a good power play at 52 for 1 where you've not lost many wickets. And Rahul, if he had taken a bit of time early on, especially against this attack, he could have easily gone on to play a relatively brisk knock, and already 40 off 29 at the end of number 5, he did well. So I thought they should have given Rahul more batting. In this case, he'd have had 31 overs when if Rahul had walked out to bat number 4. Shreyas once again played a very good innings of 78, but I feel we already knew that he was in good form before this match. And it was 259 for 4 when Shreyas Iyer was dismissed in 38.2 overs. And from then, India were bowled out for 356 and 50. Had they played things a bit better, then they would have got at least 20 runs more. And as I'd said at the start, would Washington Sundar's inclusion have been necessary? He's got a run above 14. And would England have chased this score even if India had scored 20 runs less? I don't think they would have done with the way they went about things. And that's why I didn't think it was a necessary inclusion, but they did what they did. And I didn't think India were going to lose this match, especially when they amassed this kind of a score on the surface. On a more batting-friendly surface like Cuttack, this score would have been more than enough And especially in this case, in Ahmedabad, if you get around that 315, 320 kind of score, you've done very well for yourself. And this score is well above. And from an England perspective, Saqib Mahmood, I've said this in previous videos, is he someone that if he bowls 10 overs is going to scare you as a batting side? No, he isn't. 1 for 68 in 10. Mark Wood surprisingly bowled well. And I'd said 2-3 videos ago that England should look past him in white ball cricket because since the 2019 World Cup, he hadn't done anything in white ball cricket, especially for England. But now that there are not many options, Gus Atkinson looks completely out of sorts. Jamie Overton, we've seen how he's done. Bryden Cast is also going for runs. Also, although in the T20 when the others went for runs, he went at a slightly lesser economy rate. You could play Jofra Archer, Saqib Mahmood, and Mark Wood as the three seamers because they are your best bets to bowl well, in my view. And then Adil Rashid, 4 for 64 and 10. Now, if you're looking at spinners such as Rashid, Zampa, you've got the premier spinners from other countries when bowling to Indian players in white ball cricket. In my view, you've got a 54% success rate where a lot of the time you may not bowl badly, but you may go for runs. And right now, there's only one bowler who I feel could have a slightly higher success rate because of how talented he is and how well he is bowling, and that is Noor Ahmed. If you look at all the other premier spinners, they're outstanding bowlers, but Adil Rashid has not bowled badly on this tour. He's bowled well on this tour. Even then, at times, he's gone for runs. In this case, he tried to manage things with 4 for 64 when you've conceded 356. It's a very good performance, but because of how good Indian players are at spin, you saw Hardik Pandya hitting 2 sixes off him as well, straight away when he walked out to bat. So, still a very good performance from Adil Rashid, but I feel, and if this also puts in context with how the rest of the attack is performing, where no matter how good of a spinner you got, you will go for runs against this Indian side in white ball cricket. Therefore, the others will have to stand up. Do they have the bowlers at this point in time to do that? No, they don't. And Liam Livingstone, as I've said, for months now, he's gone for runs and 957, and it wasn't surprising. And now in the England batting, I'd said this before, in the 3 ODI matches now, you've got a rollicking starts in this match 60 in 6 overs. And Ben Duckett's lack of game sense once again comes to the fore, where he's got at least 30 runs in most of the matches at a brisk rate. And when you're chasing this many, you know that the lineup is prone to collapses. Yes, the game of Ben Duckett and Phil Salt is to go aggressively. I wouldn't want to temper that, but if you look to be slightly selective at least, then you've got a player who's getting starts almost every match on this tour, yet he's not capitalizing on that. And you've got a middle order who you don't know what you're going to get from, and that's why England do collapse. And especially Phil Salt, the second wicket for a soft dismissal. He's also been getting those 20s. He's not been as prolific as Ben Duckett. In the ODI series, he's been better than what he has been in the T20 series, but still hasn't been getting those bigger scores. So these two can open for the Champions Trophy with Joe Root at 3 and Tom Banton at 4. I feel that is probably the best top 4 they can field. This would be considering who they think is in contention to start in the side. In the top 4, I'd say this is the best top 4 they can field. But if you've got two openers who are getting stars, but they're not showing that game sense, you've got a lineup prone to collapsing. Then against more spin-dominant attacks, especially like Afghanistan, they may struggle. I think they will struggle. And there was a bit of consolidation between Tom Banton and Joe Root, and especially when the spinners are bowling Akshar Patel. When England were going hammer and tongs after the first 6, he then is brought on and he bowls a maiden. And I thought the biggest positives for India in this match was the bowling of the spinners after England got off to that kind of a start. Akshar Patel going at less than 4 and over, 2 for 22 and 6.2. And Kuldeep Yadav, yes, it says 1 for 38 and 8 because he went for a couple of boundaries of Gus Atkinson at the end. But it reminded me of the way he bowled in the World Cup semi-final when Daryl Mitchell was scoring a lot of runs. He scored a century in that match. And at that match, at times he bowled at 110 kph. He varied his pace. This has been something that he has developed in the last few years. Before he bowled a lot slower. In this match, he didn't bowl that quickly, mostly ranged between that 70 to about that 86 kph mark, but the England batsman struggled against him, and both him and Akshar Patel stifled the runs, and that is what started the collapse when Tom Banton and Joe Root were dismissed. And from then on, the regular service resumed where Liam Livingstone, I don't know what that dismissal was, he walks down the track, Waddington bowls a wide, and for an innings where he could not get any momentum, he is then dismissed. And yes, in the previous match, I said I wouldn't fault his contribution. 41, the reason why the side breached 300, then 1 for 29 and 7, your lead bowlers going for 78. But when you're batting at number 7, you've got to be a bowling all-rounder. He's going for 57 runs in 8 overs without taking a wicket. And in this case, an innings where at no point did he look as if he was in control. As I said, 140 per year, not had success with the ball. In most other boards or most selection committees, there would have been a ploy that you bring in a player who plays a similar role, or if he bats at number 6 rather than 7, which Livingstone did in this match, and you can say, right, this is the player who we've got to replace you if this continues. That has not happened, which is the reason why he's not had to improve those skills. He's not had to improve his consistency. He's got a free pass. I usually don't say this on this channel. I usually don't single out players, but we've seen for a number of years now, the most successful he has been is in IPL 2022 and 2023. Apart from that, in international cricket, what has he done? Absolutely nothing. In IPL 2024, what has he done? Nothing. And based on what we have seen, is he going to contribute in the Champions Trophy and in IPL 2025? I don't think he will do. So, if you don't get a like-for-like player to indicate to an existing player in the squad that their place can be taken up by another option if they don't perform, then this is what will happen. The standards will drop, and we have been seeing that for a number of years from this England side. Once again, I will try and suggest an 11, which I know they won't go for. And the reason why I said I don't understand bringing in Tom Banton is because I'd said Jacob Bethel and Liam Livingstone can't play in the same 11. Now, Tom Banton's replaced Jacob Bethel, meaning Liam Livingstone and Tom Banton can't play in the same 11. They won't drop Livingstone. And Tom Banton, I thought, did well in this match, so he could bat at number 4. Harry broke 5, just but the 6. If Livingstone bats at 7, if you're playing in Pakistan, is he going to go well when he's not going well in India? No, he won't. So, is the problem solved? The batting, you may get a bit more assurance there, but you can't look to shield the batting collapses while compromising on the bowling, because that, in my view, still is the greater problem. Because you're looking at this batting lineup, can you still say the players there on their day, they've got the current skill levels somewhat to elevate their game on that particular day? Yes. But you're looking at the other options apart from the 3 main teamers who I think you should start, those players being Jofra Archer, Saqib Mahmood, Mark Wood. Is Bryden Kaas going to elevate his performance to win you a match in Pakistan? Is Gus Atkinson going to win you a match in Pakistan? Is Jamie Overton going to win you a match in Pakistan? No. So you haven't got anyone else. They're not. I don't think they have included Rehan in the squad. I'll have to check, but he didn't play in India, so he played in Pakistan, the Champions Trophy. I don't think he will, if he were to be included. So the one player who I think should be included, because I'm recording this on the 12th, before the 13th, so I'm recording this at night on the 12th, before the 13th, if you can make changes to your squad, I would bring in Liam Dawson, who can bat at number 7 and can bowl left arm off spin with the wrist spin of Adil Rashid, would give 20 overs of frontline spin bowling. Then you've got 30 overs of seam in Jofra Archer, Mark Wood and Saqib Mahmood. And if you want the extra bowler to roll his arm over, you've got Joe Root, who's more than capable of doing that. Instead, if you play Liam Livingstone, do you know what you're getting with the bat or the ball? No. Then both sides will be compromised. Liam Dawson is good enough to hang around if one of the top 6 is still there to take the attack to the opposition, and Dawson can also hit some boundaries at the end. And then you've got Jofra Archer, Adil Rashid at 8 and 9. Do you need batting until number 10 and 11 like this team likes to do? If you've got a bowling attack to reduce the runs you have to chase, then I don't think so. They certainly won't do this. They'll just go with the sort of blasé approach that they have been going with. And I'll say this again. I don't mind what Ben Duckett said, because in principle it is true that if they lose this series, they were always going to lose this match. If they lose this series and they somehow make it to the final and they play against India and they win, that is what would matter. That would hold greater precedent, and that's what would give them the trophy. However, is there a foundation with how they're playing now that they're going to even compete in the group stages? A very weak group, by the way. Australia, front three seamers not there. South Africa, you saw in this case, yes, Rabada will be back, but if he doesn't get wickets, this lineup this bowling attack is not convincing. Afghanistan, Gazanfar is ruled out, but still I think they look the best place out of the 4 teams to make it. Then you've got England's attack, which, as we have seen in this tour, is nowhere near it. So you've got 3 teams with a lot of weaknesses. Afghanistan with a batting weakness, but I still think that they've got the solid players to be able to claim that first place and qualify. So you've got a case where England will have to rely on their batting to bail them out if they play the wrong combination, which I definitely think they will. And you've got teams like Australia who also have weak bowling attacks, but if they bat first against this team and score 350, and with the way the England batsmen are playing, they could be in a good position chasing that score and still lose the match. So I don't know if they're going to see through the compromise which rises if you play Livingston at 7. I'm sure they won't, but let's see how the 2 teams, as far as this series goes, go in the Champions Trophy. India, I think they've not got too many backups outside their first 11, but they're in much better form than England. And England, I don't think, will play the right combination. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?